Hello fellow crafters, thank you for joining me again. This is our second Christmas project. I hope you're going to enjoy it. They are absolutely beautiful, I think. Not because I made them, but I think they do look lovely. They're actually called Cornucopias, which is Horn of Plenty. And you can fill these with anything you like. Once you've made your cone, you can fill them with sweets, little toys. I like to fill them with these little decorations and put them on the Christmas tree. But I think you have to agree they are rather special. I'll twist them around so that you can see. It's a bit of paper come off. And so that you can see them better. You can put any colour that you want. The colours are up to you. Gold, red, blue, all sorts of things. The always as popular, the green and the red, but you can just put lots of different things into these, and they are rather beautiful, and they're not difficult to make, but I think they look rather expensive and would make a lovely gift for anyone or to hang on your tree. So let's go. Cornucopias, here we come. Before I start to show you how to make the cornucopias, I just wanted to take a minute just to say to you, coming up, in the autumn, you'll find lots of things in the park and all over the place. Keep a lookout, keep them and dry them. I'm just going to show you a few of the natural things that we will be using in this and in other things. These are great, and you can get these at the moment going along the hedgerow, and all that is love in a mist, and you just paint them gold or whatever. These are just little fir cones. This is out of a very cheap box or packet of potpourri that was on reduced, and I'm going to paint those gold and silver. These are beads, the cassia bark or cinnamon sticks again. These little things, we used to call them lamb's tails. Everything can be dried, little old funny bits of bark, walnuts, all sorts, honesty, that will spray beautifully, and these little different seed heads, acorns if you can get them, quite hard because the squirrels pinch them, and these are something I made, as you know if you watch my channel, earlier on, just with seeds and a stick, and you can pick those up on one of my shorts on how to do that. Little beech nuts, they leave these behind all the time, the squirrels. So go along, see what you can find. Poppy heads are fabulous. Just get them dried, leave them in the sun in a brown paper bag or something on the windowsill, and they'll be great to use for what we're going to do in the future and for what we're going to do today. On a piece of white A4 paper, so that if you want to take a screenshot and print it off on an A4 piece of paper, you can just copy it or cut it out and you'll have the exact sizes. But this is for the outside of the cone, which is, we would use the card paper, the glittery paper. We plus 1 centimetre onto that edge, and that's to stick the cone together. And it's 11 centimetres down the side, and we just curve it. Exactly the same with this one. This is the lining pattern, plus 1 centimetre again to stick it together, and this is 10 centimetres each side, and again you curve it. This is just the little disc, and it just goes in the top of the cone to keep everything in place, and that's 5.5 centimetres across. That, once you've cut it out, you've got it for your main pattern, but sometimes things roll differently and you may have to just mess about with your disc that you're going to use inside. You don't see it, it's just to keep everything in place. So there we are. So you could photo shoot that and you can print that off. So this is your pattern template on a A4 piece of paper. You just need to take a screenshot of it, crop it to the sides of the white paper, and then when you print it out, you'll have the exact pattern size to be able to cut it out. So this is what we'll need. I've put these things to one side for now because I've explained all that to you before. A bowl of glittery bits, which again we'll go through later. We'll need a little bit of white paint, paintbrush, pencil, ruler, scissors, wire cutters if you're using anything where you need to cut wire. Don't ruin your scissors. This is that green stuff again. It's a bit thicker than the one that we used on the scroll. You can use the same one, but you'll need more of it. very thin card or paper for a lining of the cone, and these glittery papers for the main cone outside. Also, you can use this sort of glittery or any sort of Christmas wrapping, really. It's very pretty and it looks quite nice, and it's such a cheap way to do it. So we also need a little pattern here, and I'll show you that, rice and a little bit of wadding, and I'll explain all that to you in a moment. Now I've cut out my pattern pieces. I've cut out a main pattern piece from this pattern here, the 11cm one, and what I've done is, you'll notice it says +1 centimetre down this side. So what you do when you cut it out is you lay it down and you just draw a line and cut another centimetre on from there, so that you get a little bit, and that is for tucking in. And then I just simply snipped the edge. It makes it much tidier and easier to roll when you're ready to roll it. The other one I've done is the disc for the top, which is the top that's going to go into the top of the cone. And then I've done a lining one, which is just this thin paper, thin card, use what you like really. It is just to line it, give it a bit more depth, you know, to make it a little bit stronger. And I've done exactly the same, +1 centimetre. I folded it over and I stuck that with sellotape, because you're not going to see this. This is completely inside. So now all I need to do is roll this one and just stick it down all the way down this edge here. I'll use a glue gun for this because it's much stronger and it's quicker, and I don't want sellotape on the outside. So I'm going to do that now and then come back to you. So I've sealed down the side here. We'll be probably covering most of that with the decoration, but it's fine anyway. You've got to have a seal somewhere. And then what I'll do is, this goes, the lining inside, just push it down a bit, and then as you see, what's happened is where I've coiled it, it hasn't quite met, and that's fine. All we need to do is just tidy it up a bit. It's very simple to do. So we just tidy it up a bit and sort of do that. There we go. And there we have it. There's your cone. It's like that. Okay, and that's your lining. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of wadding right in the bottom of the cone, like this. Just a little bit in the bottom, just poke it through. And then we're going to put some rice in. Only a couple, 2 or 3 spoonfuls is fine. But what it does, it gives it weight to hang on the tree, so it's quite a good thing to do. And then we just put the rest of the wadding in there. Now what I normally would do is I just put a tiny drop of glue in there. You don't have to, it's just another safeguard really. And another little bit of glue there, and then it just holds it all down. Okay, but the next step is just to put your circle on. And as I told you when we very first cut these out, you may have to just trim around a little bit. They're not exact, so just trim around until you get near enough the size you need to cover up the cotton wool. Not the cotton wool, the stuffing, I beg your pardon. Oh, it could be cotton wool, I suppose. And just push it down like this, okay? Once you've done that, all you do is get your glue and go around it, just to keep it in place. You're not going to see any of this, so just to keep it in place. Okay, done. Now we're going to put the ribbon or decoration on the actual cone before we do anything else. I quite like to do this, is to cut a piece of ribbon and just literally do that and just glue it. And I think that looks quite pretty. You can use this velvet ribbon. You could use a satin ribbon. You could have it the other way around. You could do it this way. Instead of having it at the back, we've got silver. You could use that. Or if you don't want to do that and you've got some sort of edging like this, you could just use that, but that's just to get it started. So we're just going to make a nice little pattern with our ribbons. I'm actually going to use this green one on this occasion. I've measured my ribbon. I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue where I want it here, and I'm just going to put the fold of the ribbon on the glue there, just to hold it in place, like this. Then I'm going to bring that round and bring that one round as well, so that they sort of overlap. If you've cut it too short and they don't overlap, don't worry. As I said, the top of this you probably won't even see anyway, because it'll have different things on it. So that's the first thing that you need to do, and just cut that there. Because I'm using green, I'm going to use a piece of green for the hanging ribbon. So you just want a piece about, what, let's have a look for you. 27, roughly 27 centimetres, that is. Just cut that, and at the back just put a little bit of glue. You want one piece there, another piece of glue, and just put the other piece there. Then you can get on with the fun bit of decorating and filling the cone, so that you've got a nice ribbon ready to hang it on the tree. Okay, let's let that dry. The next thing we're going to do is cut some of this switchy green stuff. That's about 22 centimetres. You'll see why it doesn't have to be absolutely accurate, because you're just bending it around, and you're bending it around because it's going to go on the top of your little cone. So once you've bent it around, get your glue gun and just quickly, because as you know, the glue gun dries very fast, and then we just lay it in there. Simple as that. Hold it down a moment just to make sure that it all sticks okay. Now, there's nothing at all to stop you putting more ribbon around. You know, you can put some more ribbon around there if you want to. I'm not going to, because I'm hoping to have things that hang over, and I think sometimes that's just enough, that gold. I think it's sometimes less is more. Not always, but sometimes it is. So now put this to one side and have a little look at what you've got in your little tins or your plates or your dishes, and see how you're going to decorate this little cone. So I've put a few things in a plate here, and some other greenery that I want to use, and I want to just quickly show you how to do this. This I've had it years. It was on, we decorated my daughter's wedding tables with this, and I've got quite a bit of it, and I kept it. And it does work out really nice to use, actually. So all I do is I get a cocktail stick or a kebab stick, whichever, depends how tight you want the coil, and it does make a difference. It makes a real difference when it's on there. So coil it around and get it nice and tight. You can pull it out if you want to make it a different length coil when you're finished with it. But you can see how simple this is to do, and you can do this with any coloured wire that you want to use. You might have some nice green metallic wire, or gold even, and that would look nice as well. So you see, that looks better. And I'm going to trim the odd bits off. As I said to you, it's pretty old, this, so I just want to make sure that there's no horrible little bits and pieces sticking out, so that's fine. Up here, this isn't going to show, it's going to be inside there. So now what I'm going to do is just chop this off like this, and just see, maybe that might look nice, literally just hanging. Can you see how pretty it's looking already? So all you do is you bend your wire around, get some glue, and get it stuck onto your centre. Once that's dry, we'll carry on with some more, and then we'll just mess around with it when we do it finally. If you think it's not that secure, that doesn't feel that secure, so just a little bit more glue. But it is going to have things piled onto it, this, okay? It's sometimes handy just to pop it into a glass. Any glass will do. This one particularly fits it quite well. That I'm going to leave alone until I write at the end. Now I want to start building up. So I've decided I'm going to use fir cones, and I'm going to keep that on its stem because it'll fix better on there. And I'm just going to glue it along and just lay it on there. so that it's facing one way, that's facing another way, and that's how they grow. So I think they look a bit more dramatic that way, and a little bit more how they should look, really. So then I'm going to try the little Love in a Mist, which is I told you about. I've just sprayed this one gold. It's just a piece that I've had, and I sprayed it gold. And this is literally all you do. You go around now, building up your layers and putting in your different things that you'd like to put in. Little ivy leaves like this. You might have some holly leaves. It's quite nice to have these leaning over. They look quite pretty hanging over the edge, and having the different coloured ivy, not always the same ivy. So you've got another colour here. And you can use anything that you've got just to add just little pretty things to it. You can always take them off if you feel that you've gone too far, and everything gets covered up in the middle, so it's all fine. You know, you can use all these different coloured baubles and everything. So I'm going to carry on with this now, and then I'll come back and show you when it's complete. This is our Horn of Plenty, or Cornucopia, and you can see why it's called that, because it is literally crammed with stuff. You could use sweets, you could use anything for this, but these are pretty for the tree, and obviously they'll last years and years. I've put a little red bow on the back. I've used cones and beads and all sorts of just little things to go in. I've added some more of the silver coil, and I've also put in some beads here. These are just glass beads or plastic beads, but they're like crystals and they look quite pretty. Pearls look very nice as well in these. Any beads would look lovely in these. These are a fancy straw. These are those little strings of beads, and these are the little fillers that I showed you how to do on my channel when we did some holly berries, and we did some seed berries and things on a stick, so you can look those up. So the last thing I've done is I've gone around with my white paint. You can use white paint or Tipp-Ex, and just go around and just put in a little bit of the snow, and it does make a real difference, honestly, and on the leaves. So there we are. There's our Horn of Plenty, our Cornucopia, all done, ready for Christmas. I just wanted to show you these very quickly before I go, and these are all made in exactly the same way, but I made them for Easter, and I hung them on a branch on my mantelpiece with little eggs, and they look really pretty, and they look lovely as well if you add a gift tag to them on a gift. And they're so simple to make. You can see exactly the same as this, just little flowers. So if you like my channel and if you enjoyed making those, please join me again soon, and I'll put some more on, and just carry on crafting.